So excited to be back in the house of the Lord. I had been on vacation. It has been a wonderful time to get away. Vacation is just not enough, okay? First of all, I'd like to welcome those of you that are online on FaceTime, Instagram, wherever you may tuning in uh, with our Hour of Power Bible Study. I am Elder Yvonne Fowlkes, and I am continuing the teaching that I started maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I took vacation last week, so I think Apostle Mitchell, she decided to take vacation along with me. Amen. I wanted to pass my notes on to somebody, but she said, "Nah, we taking vacation with you." Amen. So the title of this teaching, I'm not going to go back and rehash a whole lot of things, but just to bring your mind back up to where we were. This teaching was on listening, and the title of it was "Are You Listening?" We basically gave a definition of what listening was. I gave you uh, three basic skills for listening, which was attitude, attention, and adjustment. And then I went into the four main causes of poor listening. And I think I said earlier that a lot of times we think we're good listeners when we really may not be. So I started out at the last teaching the four main causes of poor listening,
Check,
and
check.
those four main causes were due to not concentrating, listening just a little too hard, jumping to conclusions, and focusing on the delivery and personal appearance of the person that is in front of you. I went into the steps to become effective listeners. How can we become better listeners? Although we may think we're good listeners, I'm going to give you some little tips on how to become more effective listeners. The first point I gave, do anybody remember what the first point was? First point. You have a mic?
Face the speaker. Eye contact.
Yes.
Yeah. Face the speaker. Eye
Face the
contact.
speaker, eye contact. Anybody know what the second one was? You have Apostle said, face the speaker and have eye contact.
A distraction like what you're wearing
Uh,
and tone.
no, the second one was listen for nonverbal
Verbal
cues.
clues.
Yes.
Body language.
Body language. Body language. And today we're going to pick up there. And number 3 is don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Being interrupted is frustrating for the other person. Anybody know what? Think why? Why would it be frustrating for the other person? Angelita?
Uh, it's rude for number one. It makes me feel like what you're saying is more important than what I'm saying, and I don't like it.
Okay.
You wouldn't do unto others as you would have others to do unto you. So why you over talking me?
Okay. Vernon has his hand up.
It's annoying, and it can be. It's just annoying.
It's annoying.
It's just annoying. Period.
No.
You're trying to say something, and they keep cutting you off, and the more you're trying to get your point out, the more they're trying to get their point out, and they're talking over you. It's annoying, and then by the time you get to say the chance for you to say what you want to say, you didn't either forgot it or you done made it worse.
Exactly. Excuse me. Yes. And the scripture that they used for this teaching was James chapter 1 verses 19 through 25. And the verse 19 says, "My brothers and sisters, always be more willing to listen than to speak. Keep control of your anger." So when you say don't interrupt, it's frustrating for the other person. Frustrating for the other person. And as Angelita said, you know what? It gives the impression that you think you're more important or that you don't have time for what they have to say. If you're naturally a quick thinker or speaker, force yourself to slow down so that the other person can express themselves. Remember just to pause a few seconds of silence doesn't necessarily mean that you have to jump in. It doesn't mean that you have to jump in just because the person paused. But some people you got to do what? Jump in. You have to jump in.
So for ones that you got to jump in on, you got to interrupt them. Even though you say don't interrupt, but some people you have to interrupt.
But why?
Cause
Look, where's your mic?
Because they keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. It's just nonstop.
So why do you think? Why do you think that? Why do they keep going and going?
Because I believe they feel that their opinion is more important, it's more valuable, and that they're right and you're wrong.
I mean, but sometimes it could be a conversation that you're having with somebody, and it ain't even about a right or wrong situation. It could just be that they are a talker. You know what I'm saying? You can have a conversation with a talker, and it's not that you're debating something or something that is right or wrong. It's just that they are a talker.
Then have the conversation with yourself. I mean, I tell people all the time, well, I'm crazy, so I talk to myself and I answer myself. So if you're a talker, talk to yourself. Don't talk to other people if you're not going to, I mean, just have some common courtesy.
But do you? But to those individuals, they may not be aware. You know, sometimes we may not be aware of what we do. You know, and they just keep, like you said, like an ever-ready battery. They just keep going and going and going. And I know my you know, Minister Rock, she laughing. She got a smile on her face. Are you a talker?
Oh my God.
You're a talker. And do you realize that you be talking and talking and what? Somebody may not get a chance to get in? Pick up your mic. Don't be scared. We all family. But
you know, like you talking too much. I mean, you know,
they don't have time.
I take it or leave it.
What'd you say?
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave what?
Me. Take me or leave it. Like, it's up to you. Don't talk to me. If you know I talk too much, don't talk to me.
That's rude. And that's selfishness right there. That's not right. That's not right.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of joking.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that y'all feel that way, that I talk too much.
Who said it?
Well, I think I do. That's why I don't like being on Sundays praise and worship leader, because it's like, I'll be up there talking. You know.
That's totally different.
That's when you do talk. That's but you know, y'all talkers.
Angie had her hand
This one sits here in Bible study and don't say nothing, but she's a
Right.
talker. Okay, she's a talker.
She is.
Y'all gonna hear a voice that y'all ain't never heard on Bible study. Get ready.
I already know I'm a talker, and I tell people that. I know I talk a lot, but there are times that I get quiet and don't say anything, and that's because I've been in that position where people overtalk me, or I can be in the middle of saying something, and people will just interrupt and talk over me like I'm not saying anything. So there are times that I talk a lot, and there are other times that I just shut down and don't say anything. So I'm both ways, but I do let people know I talk a lot.
So you said, wait a minute. So you said there are times when people overtalk you.
I've been put in.
Who's that, Minister Rock?
The shade is real. No, it's just that I've been in such positions or where I'm talking to people or get in an argument with somebody and they overtalk me, or I can be sitting up with a group of people and we could be talking, and it happens a lot with my family where I'm sitting up talking and they'll just start talking like I'm not saying anything. So I just stop and shut down. So I do that a lot. I know I do. So there are times I talk a lot, and there are times I just sit and be quiet.
Okay, so this is a therapy section. We're not finished. So if you think you said your family, nobody knows you better than your family.
No, but that's not true. We could be in a group talking, and then I will go to give my opinion or say something about what we're talking about, and then I can just start saying what I want to say, and then somebody else will start talking like I'm not even saying anything. So I'll just stop, and it's not just with my family. It's when I notice that it happens when I'm sitting around whoever.
Yeah.
So it got me to the point that sometimes I'll shut down, or if I'm in a group and we're talking, a lot of times I just don't say anything, because sometimes, like Vernon said, it's frustrating, and it gets on your nerves, and it's disrespectful. So before I just, because I'm working on me and not acting in my emotions and not popping off on people, I just don't say anything.
Okay. Minister Rock, you had your hand up.
Yeah, when you say talking over, I think like if you're talking over someone, then y'all having a heated conversation. That's not just a regular conversation like, oh my God, I went to Jamaica and this and that, and it was so fun. And, it's like if
Girl,
you're
I went to Jamaica, and let me tell you, it was just, I did Dunn's River, and that joint was just like that. That's rude, because I just cut you off. So it doesn't have to be a heated conversation. I'm
that's
giving.
not talk. This like you're talking. Keep talking.
I talked over you. You
No,
were saying.
but you're not really
Yes, I am.
listening.
Yes, I am. Because
you
look,
see how
I
you
feel,
get-
I feel that my vacation was
See,
better than yours.
it's
I
like
feel I did Dunn's
aggressive.
River better than
Like,
yours.
I
No,
feel like-
No.
What I'm trying to
I'm
say
gonna tell
is
you like
that-
this. I said that. Look, girl, when I went to Jamaica, it was when 9/11 happened. The island was deserted. We did this. Then here come Elder Angel. But wait a minute. No. It does not have to be a heated conversation. And
Yeah,
then
I
when
just
that
relate.
happens, because like I used to tell Jonetta, I just shut down. Because y'all dominate the conversation. I can say boo. Boo, 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 boo. Can I get my boo out before you start with your boo boo?
You stole Minister Rock's boo. Go ahead.
I did.
Um,
I just wanted her to know how I feel.
people over talk
That
to
you
me all
can't
the
just-
time.
you
I'm
just-
not,
you
I
just
don't get
can't.
offended. It's on the individual. I get offended if I'm upset about something. If I am expressing myself and you cut me off, you don't let me express what I'm feeling. If I'm upset, if I'm crying and I'm coming to you and I feel hurt and a person lacks the ability to just be quiet and listen. If you overtalk me, I'm gonna shut down. I'm gonna shut down. But in a regular group setting, I don't really take offense. You know what I'm saying? I don't really get offended if somebody cuts me off if I'm talking, because I am aware that I do talk a lot, But I've never been in a group where somebody's like, dang, I can't get a word in edgewise or something. Like, that's never happened to me in my life. Nobody's ever, until I came here, until today, actually. Nobody ever really told me that I talk a lot. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like I'm having good back and forth conversation. But now I got to be more mindful because it's like, okay, so
But it ain't good back and forth conversation because you take over the conversation.
I talk to you every single day. Do I take over the conversations?
We talk all the time, and when you talked about the emotions part or whatever, sometimes when you are in an emotional place and feeling certain things, me and Pastor Mitchell both know you may want to keep going, but a lot of times we have to stop you so that you can get out of the emotional place because you need to hear what we have to say. But
Okay,
when
yeah.
you're going, because you
But,
know.
but in terms of like
Look,
what she
look at
said,
your pastor
though.
back there. Look at him. He like.
But in terms of what Angelita said, do we just like when we all together or we talk and I don't let y'all talk or the conversation is not kind of like
No, we don't have
fair
that
or
is different. But one thing about it, I know it's funny to me when you can have a group of talkative people, because the truth is Martin can be a talker. You could be a talker. Elder Angela could be a talker. All of y'all could be talkers. I could be a talker. But if you ever pay attention, sometimes when we all are together, she'll go into her introverted mode and won't say anything because in her mind she feel like she can't really get a word in. And so, I've seen people. There was a young lady that once used to be a part of the fellowship, and she was a major talker, and so was her husband. And it used to blow my mind that when the two of them and dealing with them, you didn't even think she could talk. She went into such a silent mode because his talking overpowered her, and you would never even know that she was a sanguine the way she was because she met her match. So to say with him. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yeah, I think people who I can't really say people who talk a lot, but I would say people who are strongly opinionated, strongly, expressive. Let me just say it like that. Yeah, they don't have an introverted place. Let me just say that. So because even though I'm introverted, I have my moments when I can talk. But if I'm with someone that's a talker, I just get quiet. Like, I can give a prime example. I was talking to my son on FaceTime yesterday, and I said, Tyron, Tanya just walked in. You want to say hi? After that, I ain't say nothing else. I think the last thing I said, all right, then I'll talk to you later. So she took over the conversation. I might as well have walked out the room. But but that's a personality thing, I think. And I think they have to sometimes when a person is that if that's a part of their personality, they just have to be more mindful to try to slow it down, I guess. I don't know. I can't I don't know. But some people just talk a lot. But when a one-on-one conversation, they can take over a conversation. And if somebody is not that much of a talker, they will shut down. I know I will. If I can't get a word in, I just get quiet.
And
And if a person that talks a lot get quiet, I think something wrong. I think something wrong with them. There's times, maybe once a year, that my wife get quiet,
you say once a year.
and I be like, "Baby, you ain't depressed, are you? Because you ain't talking. Something wrong." So yeah, at least once a year she get quiet.
And the thing about it is same, with me, I can talk, and but I can talk. Sometimes I don't feel like talking, but I can talk. But then those that can talk more than me, they make me try to talk over them. You see what I'm saying? So it's just all in the different personalities, and you say, Minister Rock, you say ain't nobody ever told you till you came to this church. Girl, they been lying. You was what? You never heard that? The mic. You know why? They probably didn't want to. They probably they probably didn't say anything because that's just the way she is. That's what she does. So I'm just not going to. I just let her have it. But what I would do and what I have done, I would say, "Excuse me, can I talk?" You don't
Yeah,
remember me?
that's never happened to me.
I did it to you.
You did that to me?
Yes.
When? I don't remember you doing that to me.
Huh?
I don't remember you saying that to me.
Yeah, you what? Just because you was talking.
The question is, are you
think-
listening?
I think like because you're talking about personalities, so I think like if I'm comfortable with you, yeah, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk about whatever. But if I don't know you like that, I go to it's different. I'm not a talkative person. I'm quiet. I especially if I know you well and I know that you got a sourness or like like you tend to snap back. I withdraw from stuff like that. I shut down. I don't know how to even address people that are difficult. Because you said something earlier, like, don't nobody know you like family. But I don't agree with that because I think family knows the version of you they grew up with. So when you try to heal and you on a new journey, you walking with the Lord, they don't know that version of you. They will always react to you the way that you used to be.
Yeah, because you're a new person. But
Yeah.
they know your personality type. They may can go back and say, this is how she's always been, and they just accept it. But when you become a new creation in Christ, you're different. But a lot of times that don't mean our personality really changed. We still the same. Just like we real as Pastor Mitchell, we're emotional when we talk. Because a lot of times, like I said before, people think I may be fussing, but I'm not fussing. I'm just emotional and passionate about what I say. Why I gotta raise my voice, I don't know. That just happens. That just happens.
Yeah, I could be passionate, but you gonna know if I'm upset. Cause my upset and my passion, they different. My passion don't sound nothing like my upset.
Oh, okay. So when you letting the other person speak, it make it easier for you to understand what they're saying. Because a lot of times, if we so focused on what we're saying, we don't even hear. We don't want to hear what anybody else saying because we're so caught up in what we're saying. Even interruptions that respond to something that they said, or that person said, can be distracting. Even if it means that the conversation gets sidetracked from what they were trying to tell you, it gets interruptions just can cause interruptions. It just sidetracks the whole conversation. You may not even hear what they're saying anymore. If that does happen in the conversation, and you get sidetracked because they talking so much, because go back to say, and so you were telling me about what? Because sometimes you can get to talk, for me, you can get to talking and talking, and after a while, I don't hear you. And then you say the favorite word, are you listening? And for real, no, I'm not. But it just makes you more conscious. You get your hand up. Pass the mic back. I see that smile because
I was sitting here reflecting, and I feel like almost a chameleon. Depending upon who I'm speaking to, my communication style may change. Just being honest. I have a cousin who calls me, and I know she wants nothing more but for me to listen. That's it. And whatever she's telling me and she's doing is right. There's absolutely no value in me offering a contrary opinion to what she's saying. I know that. And in fact, if I do it, it may extend the conversation. So I just listen. This. But then if I have a close friend or someone I'm close to and we're speaking, my communication style is totally different. I do try to listen. Over the years, I've become more conscious of just waiting. instead of being so excited to say what I have to say, waiting to hear from them. I used to be the person who's like, and we both talking and we're missing it because we're so excited when I was younger. But that's something I've personally worked on because my mom is a talker and she's a talker and she talks in circles. So she'll finish the story and start the story right back up. You could walk away from the phone, come back. It's the same story, and she does it so often that you could say something totally different to her, and she's so engaged in what she says she does not hear anything. It's actually funny. We laugh about it all the time, but it's just how she is. And then I was going to offer this. I don't know if we got here, but one of my biggest pet peeves is if I'm talking to you, especially on the phone, and you're talking to other people. I am going to. I'll talk to you later. When you start talking to people, hey, what you doing? Listen, and you call me? Oh no, that's a it's a very big pet peeve of mine. But I prefer speaking on the phone than texting. I suck at texting. I'm not a good texter.
I have it's a friend, and like you were saying, Kiana, a friend of yours or cousin, somebody they call, and all they want you
Oh
to
no,
do
it's
is
my
just
cousin.
they just want you to listen. So I got one of those too. So you know what? When she calls, I get a lot done. I can get a lot done while while she talking. I done brush my teeth. I done fix my breakfast. I done all of that, and she's still talking. And then after a while, she said, "You listening?" And I don't know what she's talking about because I wasn't really listening. But she's so bad that if I pick Khalil up from school and she's on the phone, he said, "Oh my God, how do you do it? How do you just?" He knows her voice. She just go on. No, we could. I could ask him where he want to go for get something to eat and all that. And she's still talking. And you literally have to jump in with her. You do. Why you laughing? Because you won't be able to say anything. She called me the other day. I called her. I called her, okay? And she immediately started rattling off with whatever she talking about. I said, hold up, wait a minute. I say, I called you. This is my conversation. Let me say what I have to say. That's who she is. You?
I was laughing because just yesterday I was on the phone with Raquel and she was on the speaker in the car. And so I told her, KK, 'cause I took him to the barber shop and he was in there. I said, my grandson getting in the car right now. So we talking and he just sitting there, right? He wasn't on his phone or nothing. And we talking and we talking. And I said, ain't that right? So what you think about that, KK? He was like, huh? Like, he wasn't listening to nothing. He was like, huh? Think about what? I said, never mind. I thought, just because he could hear the sound doesn't mean he was listening.
Exactly. Kiana, you had your hand up.
I just think I really try to take time to learn people. So some folks telephone calls I won't even take unless I have the emotional capacity to deal with what is getting ready to come across. Because I just know it's something, especially people who just blow things out of proportion or like really theatrical and I can feel it. If I can feel a telephone conversation coming, I'm like, trying to find out. It's just, oh man, it is. I guess I'm the type of person that people enjoy talking to, and I really try to. But sometimes it can be very draining. I think it's important for you to protect your energy, okay, and protect your peace when you know what you know about the person you're gonna talk to, okay. And I did mention to a cousin that she don't really want my opinion, Few times I gave it, boy, oh boy. And was invited to give it and told the truth.
I said okay, never again. So I just listened because I know that they don't want sound advice. They just wanted someone to talk to. But yeah, check yourself before you take a call or you make a call, because your emotional energy is important and timing is important too. I had to learn that being emotional. I'm an emotional person. I had to learn. I just got to chill out and wait till the right time because I wasn't always that way. I wanted to go at you right now, talk about it right now, and right now might not be good.
And I was I was laughing to myself because I think about the the temperaments. That has a lot. Your temperament, and we would say that. I know back in I would say opposites. They opposites don't attract, and that's not true. That's how I used to think. Opposites. I mean that they attract or with something opposites. Yeah, opposite attract. And I would think back then that they didn't. But I see now, after I've learned about the different temperaments and things of that nature, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Brother Glenn, and I'm looking at Pastor Mitchell, and so are they. So y'all always have an opportunity to talk. Them. And look, Glenn, Glenn, did you do this? And they just be talking. And y'all gotta. Can you imagine either being married to somebody that like to talk? I'm talking to you and Kiana. Clearly, they like what? Let's put it like this.
What she was saying, could we imagine being married to somebody just like us?
Them.
No. and no. And even when it comes down to their personality types, my husband has shared before how there was a time when he did date a young lady that was of his same personality type, and he was like, man, that joint was boring. That relationship, you know what I'm saying? So when you deal with somebody that's opposite, you do get to a point where it brings about a different type of balance. But don't ever think for a minute that just because they're quiet that they don't talk. Okay?
Oh,
The thing is, sometimes when my husband talking, and if it's one of them moments, and my eyes get to crossing and I get sleepy, he get real upset because his thing is, I don't even normally talk like that. And you got the nerve to be falling asleep on me,
You done tired from talking all day. Now it's my turn. You get tired.
But I don't know. I noticed now. I thought about at this time in my life. I think at this time in my life that I could, if I was to get married, I think I would have. I'd be very comfortable with a melancholy, and I didn't think I could because I couldn't deal with a sanguine. I just couldn't. I couldn't deal with whatever the phlegmatics. Couldn't deal with. I went through all the things. I said I can't deal with none of them. I can't deal with none of them. None of the personality types. I can't deal with none of them. Mm-hmm. Somebody had their hand up. Okay. Number 4, listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. You think you know what I'm going to say. Who said that? You think you know what I'm going to say. So if you start reacting emotionally to what's being said, then it can get in the way of listening to what is next. That's a good opportunity to focus on listening. And don't. Why are you looking at him like that? Don't assume that you know what's going to be said next. Sometimes people would do that because they try to hurry up and get you to do what you got to do. Shut up. You know, okay, you're talking and they start jumping to conclusions because you know somebody they got to go from here all the way here just to tell you what they want to say. And that's a long way. And sometimes I would just say, okay, what's your point? Okay, I don't need to hear all that. And especially somebody got ADHD, they don't want to hear all that. They don't want to hear that. Just get to what you have to say. You know, and then, Jack, what's wrong, Jack? You got something to say? Stop. Listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. Number 5. Don't start planning what you're going to say next. You can't listen and prepare at the same time. Although you think you can. You Angelita. Get the mic. Don't start planning what to say next.
You have to.
You have to what?
You have to plan what you're going to say next, because, like you say, they go from here to here. I gotta plan what I'm gonna say because you all the way over here, and I ain't had a chance to say what I had to say here. So I'm going to plan what I'm going to say. Now I might not interrupt you, and then I might have to interrupt you if you keep talking. I have to plan what I'm going to say because you keep going and going and going and going and going, and I've been and forgot. So let me just write that on my phone. This Negro done said this, so this is what I'm going to say. Well, yeah, I'm planning what I'm going to say next. I have to. With certain people. With Elder Angie, I have to plan what I'm going to say next. And we very seldom talk. But when we do, this is me. I know. Yep. Hold up. But wait a minute. Some. We don't talk often, but I have to plan what I'm. Yes, I do. I mean, I might be elementary and not fast enough to keep up, but I'm going to plan what I'm going to say. Yes, I am.
So if you're planning what you're going to say, you can't be listening to what they're saying.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm planning what I'm about to say to Elder Angel wants she to say what she had to say. I'm planning what I'm about to say because she about to say something, and
no,
I'm
I was just going to agree with you. You do listen. You owe me an apology.
I'm planning. Oh, see, I
No,
listen.
but she listened, and that's because even though we live in the same house, our schedules are different. So when we do run into each other, it's like I miss talking to her. Like when I had COVID, I had her laughing because I called her. I say, "What you doing?" I say, "I miss seeing you because I was in the basement."
We talked the other day, playing what I'm saying. We talked the other day, and I don't see her that often because I'm at work all the time. But for some reason, she was in the family room the other day. So
Wi-Fi was acting up.
I heard about the Wi-Fi. I heard about the boss. I heard about the guy. I heard about the nurse who said, I'm used to the way certain people do it. Well, I'm not that person, So I planned. Okay, well, the cable guy, I ordered a new Wi-Fi box. It came.
I know I picked it up yesterday.
See?
See?
So, I mean, she listened.
I listen. But again, I shuts down because they talk. She talks. My mother,
And you do
when
too.
you call my mother, elder folks, she said, "Oh, my sister called. She said, I am so sick of y'all using me. Because I called my mother on the way home. 'Cause you never give her a chance to talk. And then you say, let me call you back, and you never call her back. No, you don't. You just,
If I say I'm gonna call you back in a minute, or I'm gonna call you back, that don't necessarily mean I'm gonna call you back that same day. But I'm gonna call you back.
yeah.
Okay, cause think about it. Then back when those men told us that, what we do? Sit by the phone. I'm gonna call you back. They don't even call back.
Oh, no, I don't know about all that. But
Ain't nobody never done that, right? Okay.
but and people overtalk my mother because I do it. And she expressed how, nobody ever listens to me. She said people always overtalk me. And so then when she said it, now I'm more mindful of it because she doesn't talk a lot. She's probably like Pastor James. She don't do a lot of talking. So when she does talk, I try not to interrupt her, but they so slow at talking. Come get your point across. But she says everybody overtalks her. And I do. I do. So again, you gotta be mindful who you talking to, and she 90. So, it's not I don't think nobody likes it when you just constantly overtalk them. And my mother's not loud, she's very soft spoken, so for me to be loud and overtalk her, that it bothers her. It bothers her a lot.
But think about the people that call you and then they want you to carry the conversation. You
Well,
call me.
ain't nobody calling me. Don't call me.
You know what I mean? They call you, but they're not saying anything. That's kind of interesting also.
And that's my mother too, cause I call every day. It's her
She
famous.
throwing shade at somebody. Uh-oh. What you say, Angelita?
My mother's famous, so I call my mom. I'm like, oh. She was like, I said, what you doing? What time is it? Steve Harvey. I'm like, oh, okay. And she said, I don't see why somebody got to call somebody every day. My brother always said, you calling somebody every day, you either lying or talking about somebody.
I be called every day.
It's the truth. She said, you either lying or talking about somebody. So my conversations be brief. Good morning. How you doing? Talk to you later. Bye.
I was thinking about something Kiana said because I had a friend like that would call me, and I just been sitting here and I would remember mornings because you said something about like emotionally draining, and I would like she had this thing she liked to call me like at 7 in the morning when her day was started, like call me at 7:30 in the morning, and just what you said, I would just put the phone on speaker. I'd be making my coffee, brush my teeth, do my hair, get dressed, carry the phone to the car, drive my niece to school, and my niece be like, still talking. Then the kicker, she get another call and be like, "Ooh, that's my mother, girl. I'm about to talk to her." And I'm like, "Okay, bye." Like people who call several people with the same story. You call your mom, you call your sister, you call your friends with the same. That would drive me crazy because I only talk to one person about my problems. That's it.
And
The one.
Apostle always saying my favorite scripture, 1 John 1:9. He'll forgive you of your sins. She might. Oh, I got to call you right back. Tanya on the phone. She ain't even on the phone.
Yeah, that emotional vampires, man.
That's how I get-
Emotional vampires drain the life out. I would hang up that phone and just be like, need to decompress. And I felt bad, but that we ain't friends no more.
Well, you let them talk. You did all of that. Kiana, you had your hand up. Or would you change your mind?
Minister Rock made me laugh when she said somebody who shares everything. So, same person. It's like she sends. I've showed land. She she don't just text. She texts paragraphs, and then she sent videos. And she had no concept of time. She don't text me 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock. That I listen, but she send the same text to everybody she talk to, right? And I remember because we weren't always close on and off, but when we, started being closer with her, she was going through some things. She had said, when the other day when I was in Papa John's, and the guy asked me about how my job was going. I was like, how does the Papa John's guy know about your job? How does the Papa John guy know about your job and your boss? I'm trying to understand. I'm not exaggerating. When food workers know about your stuff, you talk too much. And so I purposely will see her text, and I'm so grateful I do not have an iPhone, so she don't know I read it.
Grateful she don't have an iPhone.
She don't know I read it. Because if I respond too quick, she got about 6 paragraphs in the chamber. Boom. I can't do it. So I be sending back a smiley face. I told you I suck. I sent back a smiley face. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I told you it's so bad. I feel so bad because I know she lived there, but she's a young woman, but she lived by herself. And I'm like, I know this is the same text. I get you. Everybody get included. Papa John's. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry, just real quick. I'm making it up. She told me her daughter's student loans got discharged. I was like, oh, that's great. Amen. Hallelujah. But then she kept going on. Then she said screenshots. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like, she kept talking about it, like, in paragraphs again. I sent the smiley face with the hearts. I don't know what else to say. And I thought if I kept sending emojis, it would slow down, but no, it didn't. It didn't slow down in length or nothing. So that's what I mean. I'm a good person, I promise you. I'm trying to paragraphs though. And videos.
But see, that what you was just saying, step 6 says show that you're listening. Show that you're listening. Nod your head. Smile. Make small noises like, mm-hmm. Yeah. Show that you're listening and encourage the speaker to continue.
No. No, no,
Yeah, y'all see-
no.
It depends.
No. No.
It depends on the conversation, who you talking to. I'm not talking about somebody that's going. Say you at a seminar and somebody's talking, and you're not really interested in what they talking to about. You can just nod your head. All y'all saying no. Okay, this is just one of the techniques. Show that you're listening. Y'all don't want to listen. What's the title of this teaching? Are you listening? Vernon, did you have something? You let it go.
At the end of the day, this is good information to help us because it's dealing with really communication. Communication. And hey, children. So, when you think about the scripture that you actually started out with in James, it really talked about be slow to speak, slow to anger, the whole 9 yards. It has a lot, again, to teach us how to deal with communication because communication is a major part of every relationship. And if we don't know how to communicate effectively, it can be problematic, whether it's in our church, with other church members, whether it's with the relationship that we're in, our husband, our wife, or our significant other, whether it's with our children, your best friends, whoever it is, communication is very key. And so it's a very good subject because I think in the body of Christ we have to be well balanced. And one thing I know for sure is that communication is a major issue amongst people. Even when I think about relationships, communication is more of a problem in relationships than infidelity. When you think about some couples that deal with a lot of issues, it's the communication issue. It ain't always that this is happening, this is happening. No, I have not counseled one couple that did not have communication issues. Not one. And we have counseled many couples. And so if this information, we are laughing and it's funny and all of that, and we can see ourselves in this, like Martin is saying, she already planning it, in her head. They're talking, but when you are planning what you's gonna say and how you gonna say it, it can get in the way of you hearing anything else that they're really saying. Cause you trying to remember what you gonna say, you ready to say it, and you rehearsing it in your head, which is hindering us. Because one thing about it, we like to think that we're good at multitasking, but the truth is when you do multitasking, something's lacking. So even if you're listening and thinking at the same time, something is not going to get the full attention. And so it's necessary. Even when you think about it, I think about this particular teaching dealing with communication. It also can connect when we did the teaching on confronting conflict. Because whenever you're dealing with confronting conflict or dealing with a situation, you're going to have to communicate. And so if you're not communicating effectively, or responding right and not listening, it's a lot of things. So this is something that we can apply. I'm just saying that for anybody that may be wondering, this is, we try to deal with all subject matters. Amen. And this is something that can affect us in every single area or every relationship that we ever get involved in, this lack of being able to communicate. And a lot of times if we are dealing with conflict or how we normally get angry, upset first. But it says, be slow to anger. Be slow to talk because, it gives you an opportunity to listen if you don't allow your emotions to overtake you. And, so, yeah.
Thank you, Apostle, for bringing us back in.
I was planning what I was going to say.
You was planning what you was going to say.
I was, because then she brought up conflict. And like she said, communication is very important in every relationship. And again, the young lady on my job, I attract sanguines. And we talk a lot. And this one particular lady, I'm pulling groceries. I can't talk to you. She does a job where she talks to people because she's selling items. She's giving samples of items. But you can't talk to me like that. So when I did tell her, and I didn't want to confront her because I don't like confronting, but I was like, my boss right there, you can't do this with me because you're going to get me in trouble. And she just goes on and on and on and on and on. But I didn't want to confront her, and communication is key. Now, I confronted her. I communicated with her, but she hasn't stopped. So it's like, again, you're not taking my feelings into consideration because now I feel like you're saying, the heck with me. I'm a talker. I'm going to talk. Now, on the flip side, so on my night job, I work with this young man who has another job. And he wants to come to work at 3:30 in the morning, which is leaving me by myself. And I didn't want to confront him because you're wrong. If something was to pop off up here, you got me out here by myself. So what did I do? I didn't confront. I said, you know what? I'm going to change my days. I reached out to my general manager and I said, I no longer want to work on this shift. I want to work 3 to 11. She was like, okay, Officer Martin, you can work 3 to 11. But then I changed my mind because the day that she gave me, I wouldn't have been able to come to Bible study. She was like, well, I'm sorry, we've already hired somebody for that 11 to 7 position. You're going to have to go to 3 to 11. I was like, okay. So then God stepped in. She texted me yesterday. She said, no, no, no. You're going back to 11 to 7. So now I got to confront this young man. I don't even know how to communicate with him. I don't even know how. I don't even want to because you already know that you're wrong. You know what you're stealing time for, number one, because you're clocking in and doing another job. But I don't even care about that. But you're leaving me out here by myself. I don't even know how to confront him. And I don't, communicating is key. But why should I have to do that when you already know that you're wrong? It's,
Well, we had a whole teaching on confrontation way back when we was in the other
I know.
building. And I mean, I don't know. Some people just, and you're one, you don't like to confront. I don't know.
It's
I suggest you make an appointment and get on the calendar.
appointment for what?
Get on her calendar.
It's
Okay. I don't know. Okay, point number 7, as far as listening. Don't impose your opinions or solutions. It's not always easy, but lending a listening, supportive ear can be much more rewarding than telling someone what they should do. It's not always easy, but lending a listening, supportive ear can be much more rewarding than telling someone what they should do.
Rewarding for who? The one speaking. Obviously.
Yes. Instead of imposing your opinions or solutions, yeah, just listen. I mean, this the whole thing is about listening, and I know I've been focusing on on just listening. It's hard, like you said, it may be hard when you know depend, like you said, rewarding to who, but sometimes, yeah, if you just listen, sometime, and the person don't realize that you're listening, they know you're listening, then and you're not saying anything, they may wonder what's wrong with you because you're not the normal type to just listen. I'm listening to your husband. I'm past the picture.
I mean, I know that is something because I know in male-female relationships, right? In husband and wife relationship or dating relationships, sometimes as women, we want to talk. And we're not looking for a solution to fix a thing. And it may automatically be in the man that when they hear things that we're saying, almost like we need it fixed. And so they may easily come with well, then you need to do this. And it wasn't even a thing where you wanted that. When you just really wanted to express yourself and you really wanted them to just listen. And you really have to work hard to not come up with the solution or give the opinion or advice. And I can say that for me when it comes down to if somebody just really want me to just listen. See, my thing is if you really want me to just listen, then at that moment, then don't ask me what I think. See, because if you want me to just listen, you don't want to know. Excuse me. Over here. So sometimes it's hard to do that, to just listen. I know for me. So sometimes people do just it's rewarding for the one that just need to release it, to just maybe get it off their chest, or to just share. You know what I'm saying? It's not that they are looking to you for a solution. It's hard for me because I'm always in a particular mode. I'm talking to you so I can hear scripturally or spiritually how this, all of that is going on. And it's like, if you really don't want to hear that, I have to work hard at just not saying nothing, to just listen. But again, if you say just listen, I just want you to listen, then don't say to me then, so what you think? Or what should I do?
Yeah, because even in conversations, and you when you try to say something, they'll say, "I just want you to listen." Sometimes just listen. You know, when you got- when you have a loved one that's going through something, and they got some health issues, and when they want to tell you how they feel and they want to get things off their chest, rather than having a lot of advice about what they're doing, just listen. They just may want to just talk, and instead of you saying, "Well, this is what you should do, what you should not do." Um, you had something, Pastor?
Yeah, I just want to respond to what Apostle just said. In male and female relationship, I can't. I'm not gonna speak for all men. I'm not gonna speak for all men. Just for me, but I'm pretty sure the men can relate. So when most of the time when men say, "I just want you to listen," it's because they normally are not heard. But men do want the feedback. They don't want you to just be quiet and don't have no feedback, no response, because feedback lets us know that you really heard us and you have something to say regarding to what we said. If we pour our heart out and express, because that's something that we don't do regularly, you know, some men do, but we have a hard time doing that as men, to really express what's on our mind, because a lot of times it's the women that's doing all the expressing and getting their points across. That's my experience. I can't speak for all, everybody's situation, but that's my experience. And not just I'm just any woman that I've ever been with. So when it's time for us to pour out and express, we want some feedback, because it lets us know that you took in consideration of what I just poured out, and you have something to say regarding it. Regarding what I said. A lot of times we can say something, we can pour out, and then the woman will make it about them. No, this is not about you. This is about what I just poured out. So it can get twisted a lot of times, because a lot of times, you know, when we want you to listen, we want more than just you to just hear us. We want some feedback on about what I just said, about what I'm feeling. Men got feelings. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We got stuff. We got stuff that we deal with. A lot of the stuff we deal with, we suppress. But when we have those once in a while moments when we pour out and we say, "Can you just listen?" But my wife, Apostle, sometimes it's one or the other. One extremes or the other. Like if I say, "Can you just listen?" and she gets super quiet and she don't say nothing, I take that as she being sarcastic now. You know what I'm saying? Now she, good and well, you ain't just, So it's like, it's. I think communication, you have to be considerate of the one that you're talking to. Like your personality you can be very talkative, right? And the person can be, let's say, melancholic, phlegmatic, introverted. You both have to be mindful of each other. Like I'll give an example, something that I had to learn early on. Uh, when I'm familiar with you and we in a relationship, sometimes I can be playful, joking, but I had to be mindful of the way I joke with people because I have a natural sarcastic type of sense of humor, but I don't mean any harm. But just because I know I don't mean any harm doesn't mean it can offend someone. So just like when you are over talking people and you passionate, like y'all like to put the nice word on it, passionate and strongly opinionated, that doesn't give the justification of you don't have to tone down what you're doing, depending on who you're talking to. So just because you talk a lot, it's not like I think someone earlier said. I know they was joking. They said, "Well, take it or leave it." And a lot of times people have that mindset, like, "Well, that's just the way I am," and that's what I used to say when I used to be like, "That's just the way I am. I don't mean no harm. I mean, I'm just joking." Because I'm not like that with strangers. I'm only like that with people I'm familiar with. So, but I had to really take in consideration of how it may come across to people when I'm sarcastic sometimes, and I'm only joking. But they don't know that. Everybody don't know that. So you have to be mindful of how you talk to people and the way that you go about it.
And that's a really good point. Just listening to you, just listening, you're telling I had to be mindful. I had to look at what I was saying, what I was doing. I took in consideration. So you got to express yourself, like, let people know. Everybody don't know, so you have to something like he did. You pull back and you listen. Vernon had something.
When it comes to communication, especially when it comes between men and women, um, men have been taught to suppress. You know what I mean? It's like we have been taught that we're the man in the relationship. We're supposed to already be this way and that way, and we're not allowed really to express ourselves. So that's why a lot of men just don't express themselves. But the times that we do express, it to me, it's like this is the you're my last hope. You're the only one. But at the same time, we also know that if I express myself to this woman, my spouse or whatever, it's going to be used against me. So I got to be careful what I say to her. That's another thing. And two, I was talking to my landlord a while back, and she talks to her mother every day. We were talking about communication because the tenant before me wouldn't speak to her. They would just not pay the rent and stay. So we were talking about communication, and she said she talked to her mother every day. And I said something about us men communicating. She goes, "Well, how do y'all communicate? Men, we just talk when we talk. We just don't talk every day." And she asked me, "How can you go without talking to your mother or your father every day?" And I said to her, "That's just how we are. That's how men are." And she also asked me, "Well, how come you men can see each other in August? You won't see each other until October, and you're okay not communicating within that time?" I said, "Well, that's just how we are, because we just, what really, basically, men do the same thing. We get up, go to work, come back, deal with our families, and unless it's something really bothering us, then we'll talk about it. But a lot of times, again, Pastor, thank you. Let me change. I speak for me. Um, don't speak to women a whole lot because there's a thing of it being used against us. And then on top of that, you turn it into what you are going through. Make it about you. So it's like, really, I don't want to talk to you. So that's
You had something you didn't. Okay, and something that you said, Vernon. And sometimes we as women, we do that. Something that you say, we hold it and we bring it back. It's like we put it somewhere and then it may come back at a moment when you're arguing. You know what I mean? When you say that, when you say this, we do that sometimes. Some of us do that. We hold stuff. We hear it. We don't say anything, but we got it back there in that tank to bring it out maybe at the wrong time. Yeah. Somebody had. Let me see. Who?
Yeah, I was gonna say like my husband, he's like the same, Pastor was saying, like my husband, he don't really talk a lot. You know, when he do talk, I can tell he want my opinion or my response when he do talk or share. And another thing is, I was gonna say, when we are talking with someone, it's good for both parties to listen. Even when you talking, even listen to yourself. You know what you're saying. You know, but you also listen to hear when can you go in and say what you gonna say. You know, so listen for that pause or that silence, and maybe that person may want your opinion or want you to respond back to that person. Because I even like I don't talk to a lot of people, but when I talk to my best friend, sometimes it be like a lot of deep stuff I have to share. A lot of times I don't even allow her to talk because I be talking so much. And then I find myself, okay, Andy, let me just pause, allow her to respond back or get her opinion or what she think. So it's good to have that listening skill, to listen, you know.
So we 8 minutes. I'm gonna finish this last one. In other areas of life too, most people prefer to come to their own solutions. I'm saying don't impose your opinions or your solutions. If you really must share your brilliant solutions, ask first if they want to hear it. Say something like, "Would you like to hear my suggestions?" At that point, I'm going to close. We're 10 minutes past. I thank you for your time. We'll pick up next week. Thank you for those that are online. Our hour power plus 10 minutes have passed, and it has been great sharing this evening with you. Have a blessed evening and be safe. Amen.
Well, what you said was true because sometimes as a person is talking and they really listening to themselves, they will come up with their own solution. They'll hear themselves and say, you know what, I know what I need to do now because just by listening to what I just said, so yeah.